I first crossed paths with Cassandra in college. She had a solid build, wore big glasses, and had some skin problems. She majored in art, and her fashion choices were anything but conventional, reflecting her unique style. Unfortunately, most guys, including me, didn't find her eccentric look appealing. Even though we were in different majors, she in art and I in production technology, we ended up in the same computer graphics design classes due to overlapping requirements. She needed the course to graduate, and I needed it for AutoCAD. When we got paired up for a group project, it was surprising how little we had interacted before, despite sharing classes. It became clear we were worlds apart. I was into sports and hung out with the popular crowd, while Cassandra smoked and mingled with the avant-garde, beatniks, and artistic types. My dating life consisted mainly of cheerleaders and jocks, while Cassandra was often the overlooked friend or the backup girlfriend among the art students. As we worked on our project, we spent a lot of time together. Naturally, I found myself glancing at her, and she must have noticed. One evening, our conversation drifted from schoolwork to more personal topics. When my girlfriend arrived to pick me up, I felt a strange sadness leaving Cassandra, and it seemed she felt the same. The next day in class, she was icy towards me. "What did I do?" I asked. "You're an absolute idiot," she snapped, almost in tears. Realizing we needed privacy, I took her hand and led her to a nearby park bench. After grabbing some drinks, we continued our talk. "Why do you think I'm a jerk?" I asked, trying to lighten the mood. "Because you are," she replied, tears rolling down her face. "I thought you were different, even though you're not artistic," she added. As we talked, I pondered her words. "And then you with that girl," she burst out. "Are you upset I went on a date?" I asked, baffled. "No," she said sharply. "It's just that you're all the same. You don't care about a real connection with a woman who genuinely loves you. You just want shallow relationships with some brainless girl," she said angrily. "Well," I said calmly, "girls with looks also know how to use them, whether in dating or other ways." She looked at me skeptically and asked, "What do you mean?" Annoyed, I replied, "They make their interest known. They act on it." She was silent, fists clenched, visibly angry. I decided to clarify things. I took off her big glasses, which hid her beauty, and kissed her. A deep, passionate kiss. I later found out it was her first kiss with someone outside her family. That kiss led to more intimate moments as she opened up, and we kissed deeply on that park bench. The next few weeks flew by. We finished our project and got an A, and we started dating. Cassandra switched to contact lenses, saw a dermatologist, and dressed a bit more traditionally. I never asked her to change her bohemian style, but as we went out more, she needed new clothes. You know how women are. She took me shopping and wanted my opinion. I told her jeans were popular, even for artists. She felt too big for jeans, but I reassured her, comparing her to the full-figured models by Rubens. She bought the jeans and looked great in them, but I thought her tops and sweatshirts didn't match her new look. She accused me of only caring about her chest. I jokingly admitted it but said they were for me, and she wore them for my sake. Being intimate with Cassandra felt magical, like being with a fairy tale princess. Though it wasn't wild, it was special. As her first lover, I wanted it to be memorable and enjoyable. Over time, she became more interested in intimacy and even started requesting it. While we didn't explore any wild kinks, I cherished every moment because I loved her deeply. A few weeks later, she looked at herself in the mirror and said she felt like a bigger version of the women she despised. I reassured her, saying she was my girlfriend no matter what. We were incredibly happy together and got engaged. After graduation, I got a job at an automotive design firm, and Cassandra started working at an art magazine. My family loved Cassandra and welcomed her. Her family was just her mom and sister, and I wasn't fond of them. At our engagement party, I overheard her sister saying I was too conventional and might stifle Cassandra's artistic side. Despite Cassandra looking radiant and happy, her mom whispered to her sister that she thought we were only getting married because Cassandra was pregnant and that it wouldn't last. But we proved them wrong over time. We were truly happy and loved each other deeply. On our 7th anniversary, her mom started dropping hints about wanting grandchildren since Cassandra and I were her only hope, as her sister couldn't have kids. Cassandra quickly assured her we were trying. Despite our efforts over the years, we were unsuccessful. Cassandra's mom, Sophie, took it upon herself to book us appointments at a fertility clinic, assuming the problem was on my end. I went to the appointment, underwent tests, and provided samples, only to find out that everything was perfectly normal with me. Sophie, upon hearing the news, jokingly suggested that we should practice more until we succeeded, so she could become a grandmother while still young. However, Cassandra's results told a different story and changed our lives forever. We learned she had various reproductive health issues, making natural conception extremely unlikely, if not impossible. That evening, I held her tightly as she cried herself to sleep, assuring her that adoption or exploring other treatments were options for us. Deep down, I harbored resentment towards her mother for pushing the situation to such an extreme. Through her tears, Cassandra told me, "If you want a divorce, you can have it. I'll never leave you unless you push me away." I told her about her mother's insinuation that she might cheat on me to conceive. "I'll never betray you, Cassie. You mean everything to me," I assured her. She looked at me and asked, "Why stay with a woman who can't have children?" I made sure she understood the depth of my sincerity as I replied, "Because I love you more than anything, and losing you would devastate me." She seemed to calm down a bit and eventually fell asleep. But honestly, those days are now a blur, and I struggled to recall all the details. 2 days later, we got a call from the clinic for another appointment. During the consultation, the doctor revealed she had referred Cassandra's tests to a specialist. Our shock intensified when we found out Cassandra was battling an aggressive form of early-stage cancer. Suddenly, everything clicked. Her constant fatigue at 25, unexplained body soreness, and frequent mood swings and irritability. The revelation terrified me, but fortunately we caught it early enough for a favorable prognosis. The doctor directed us to a specialized oncology center and set up an appointment for the next day. Cassandra underwent a series of extensive tests, marking the beginning of her arduous journey. I took a leave of absence from work and stayed by her side through every test, offering support and encouragement. In the following weeks, Cassandra underwent lymph node surgery and started radiation therapy. I stayed in the family suite at the cancer center to be close to her, greeting her each morning, staying by her side all day, and even getting permission to stay overnight until she fell asleep. Her mother and sister occasionally visited, often giving me the cold shoulder, possibly thinking I was somehow responsible for Cassandra's illness. However, the radiation therapy was ineffective and started damaging healthy tissue along with the tumors, so we opted for chemotherapy. Cassandra lost a lot of weight due to radiation, and chemotherapy threatened to cause hair loss. The hospital nurses were incredibly supportive, often going above and beyond to help me care for Cassandra. One nurse, Lila, stood out with her striking red hair, green eyes, and tall, slender frame. She exuded warmth and kindness, always greeting me with a smile or a joke and offering a comforting embrace or a listening ear when I needed it most, helping me maintain a positive outlook. Most nurses in the oncology unit worked 4 10-hour shifts with 3 days off, but Lila worked from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. She was there when I left Cassandra at night and when I returned at 6 a.m. the next day. She was consistently cheerful, especially around me. The only time I saw her upset was during a conversation with Cassandra's mother, Sophie. Sophie remarked that I might leave her daughter now that she was sick, and Lila reacted fiercely, threatening to physically intervene. "This environment is utterly disheartening," Lila expressed. "A large number of our patients receive minimal visitors because their loved ones are hesitant to visit due to concerns of contagion," she elaborated. She emphasized my constant presence and support for Cassandra during difficult times. Lila asked Cassandra's mother, "Were you here?" "He assists her when she needs to use the restroom," Lila commented. "Were you around when she experienced hair loss? He shaved his head to match hers," she chuckled, recalling my shiny scalp. "Were you present during that time?" she inquired with irritation. "He administers sponge baths to help her maintain dignity," she noted. "Were you present then?" she questioned again. "He has devoted all his vacation and sick leave to her. Her health insurance doesn't cover the treatment, so he's deeply in debt for your daughter," she asserted. "And throughout it all, he has been by her side every single day, holding her hand and reassuring her of his love," she snapped, pointing a finger at Sophie's face. I wish I had witnessed it myself, but hearing about it later brought a slight smile to my face. What truly mattered to me was Cassandra's well-being. Several nurses shared the incident with me, all equally enraged at Sophie. I noticed Sophie became noticeably less aloof towards me afterward. In fact, she even reached out and patted me on the shoulder, as I held Cassandra's hand during her afternoon nap. The chemotherapy took a toll on Cassandra, leaving her weakened but cancer-free. Her hair began to grow back, and we adopted a new diet to help her regain strength. She underwent multiple plastic surgeries to remove excess skin from her weight loss. Cassandra emerged as a new woman, 80 pounds lighter, with clear skin, contact lenses replacing her glasses, and her hair restored. People who knew her couldn't help but take a second glance. Though not as striking as Lila, she was the best version of herself, and my love for her remained unwavering. I returned to work, putting in extra hours to cover the medical expenses we had incurred. Cassandra couldn't work for a while, but our intimate life, always fulfilling, intensified as Cassandra expressed gratitude for my support during her illness. She began casually dating women from her previous job while I was at work. It seemed like Cassandra's way of branching out, as she had never been very social except with me. Maybe it was a form of post-cancer affirmation, but I didn't think much of it. Little did I know our marriage was on the rocks. In the following weeks, Cassandra began coming home late, often appearing tipsy. "I've never had so much fun," she would exclaim. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt working grueling 12 to 16-hour days to cover her medical expenses while she enjoyed herself without me. Her clothes became more revealing, and when I asked about it, she said she wanted to show off her new body, claiming it was just for fun. I started to question when it became necessary for her to seek validation from others. During that time, I sensed something was amiss in our marriage. Despite my concerns, I hesitated to face the truth, as Cassandra had become my entire world. Our shared experiences, especially battling cancer, had significantly deepened our bond. Meanwhile, my dedication at work didn't go unnoticed, resulting in a raise, promotion, and bonus. I saw this as an opportunity to plan a surprise vacation for Cassandra, hoping to reignite our relationship. Instead of immediately sharing the good news, I decided to throw a small birthday celebration for her and discuss the idea of relocating together. However, things didn't go as planned, and it shattered my heart and our marriage. During a routine checkup, Cassandra ran into Lila, who she never liked because of her beauty and perceived threat. Despite Cassandra's weight loss, she still felt inferior to Lila. "Hey Cassandra," Lila greeted. "It's strange seeing you without your husband." "I'm not without him," Cassandra replied. "He's just at work. Why do you ask?" Lila assured her, "I didn't mean anything by it. You're just lucky to have someone who loves you so much. Most guys are only interested in their own pleasure and eventually drift away. If only someone looked at me the way your husband looks at you," Lila began before being cut off. "It doesn't matter," Cassandra interjected. Knowing I'd be tied up at work all day again, Cassandra sought solace at a bar she had visited the previous night, thinking she could have a drink and get back home before I arrived. At the bar, she was greeted with a hug. "Oh my God, Cassandra, it's been ages," exclaimed Evelyn Harper, a former college friend. "What's been going on? You've lost so much weight. I almost didn't recognize you," Evelyn remarked. "How's your husband?" she asked. "Hez good," Cassandra responded, "just hanging out and having fun." They sat at a table, soon joined by a group of men. Cassandra got up to dance with one of them, so engrossed that she didn't notice the door opening. Everyone else in the bar did when Lila walked in. Cassandra was too absorbed in dancing to notice, but Lila watched her actions and companions. Lila ordered a sandwich and returned to work with a new idea. In the following days, I kept up my usual workload while planning Cassandra's surprise party. I invited her mother, sister, and friends, bought gifts, and hoped the celebration would help rekindle our relationship. I was pleasantly surprised when my mother-in-law offered to help decorate for the party. During Cassandra's hospitalization, we had grown closer. While she may not have been fond of me romantically, she respected my love for her daughter and accepted me. Over the subsequent days, a pattern emerged. Cassandra left and returned home late, and our once vibrant sex life dwindled. I couldn't remember the last time we had been intimate. Women at work sensed my need for relief, persistently bothering me. One evening, upon returning from work, the phone rang. "Hey, Liam, it's Lila," she said. "Hi, Lila. Any news on Cassandra's test results?" I asked. "Not until tomorrow, but there's something important I need to discuss," she said urgently. "Could we meet somewhere? It won't take long." "How about the park across from the hospital?" I suggested. Lila agreed. "I can be there in 20 minutes if that works for you." "See you there," I confirmed. The park was an ideal spot, as Lila and I had often met there during Cassandra's hospitalization to lift my spirits, sharing impromptu dinners while Cassandra underwent procedures. It held happy memories, and Lila didn't want to taint that. Sitting on a small bench, I greeted her with a smile. "Am I behind on payments? Is Cassandra sick again?" I asked. "Yes, she's unwell, but it's not cancer," Lila revealed. She recounted the places she had seen my wife recently, detailing her actions and company. "I don't have evidence, but it seems she's being unfaithful," Lila disclosed. "Lila, you're a great nurse and a good person. Cassandra would never do that. She loves me," I asserted, though my confidence wavered. "I'm sorry, but you need to be cautious," Lila advised. "I can't believe she'd betray me," I retorted. "You're basing this on vague suspicions with no proof. Maybe you should focus on your own affairs." I stood to leave, but Lila gently took my hand. She touched my cheek and I froze, my anger fading. "I hope I'm wrong for your sake," she murmured. "It hurts to see you in pain for someone who isn't worth it." Her touch sent a shiver down my spine. "I'll be there when you need a friend," she assured, slipping a card into my hand before leaving. I tucked it into my pocket, watching her walk away. It had been a long time since Cassandra and I had been intimate, yet seeing Lila walk away, I felt a surge of desire. Everything unfolded better than expected. Lila knew that if Liam found out too late, the pain would be unbearable. She believed it was better for him to endure smaller hurts now, rather than one massive heartbreak later. Although she never wanted to hurt Liam, he needed to know about his unfaithful wife. Lila couldn't recall when her feelings for Liam started, but it no longer mattered. Maybe it was watching his unwavering dedication, whether caring for Cassandra or enduring her dismissive treatment once she began to recover. Cassandra had started treating him more like a servant than a loving husband who had sacrificed everything for her. Lila was acutely aware of her beauty, a fact often pointed out throughout her life. Despite her many relationships, no man had ever shown her the same love and tenderness that Liam showed Cassandra. She realized she would give anything to have such affection in her life. She felt ready for the next phase of her plan. 2 nights later, I returned home with a sense of anticipation. The modest party was meant to reignite the romance with Cassandra. I had been paying closer attention to our interactions lately and noticed her growing distance and increased drinking. I eventually fell asleep, but she had not yet come home. When I woke up, she was beside me, smiling as she rolled over. Despite knowing she was likely out partying, I brushed it off. Cassandra, who once hated parties when we met, now seemed to crave the experiences she had missed, perhaps celebrating her victory over cancer. While I longed for her to celebrate with me, I couldn't shake the feeling of my own selfishness. At 6:30 a.m., Cassandra's mother, Sophie, arrived with her other daughter, Eliana. They started decorating the house quickly, knowing Cassandra could come home at any moment. I had only invited a few close friends to keep it intimate. By 9 p.m., guests began wondering about Cassandra's absence, leaving their gifts and departing. By 11 p.m., only Sophie, Eliana, and I were left. I made another attempt to reach Cassandra on her cell. She called back half an hour later. "Hey, love, I'm heading home soon," she slurred, sounding drunk. "Where are you?" I asked. "Mom suggested a drink, and I joined her instead of coming home. We lost track of time," she explained. "I ended up with her and my annoying sister because they still dislike you, and I didn't want their negativity to ruin your surprise," she added. In the background, a man's voice urged her to return for more fun. "We'll reunite soon and you can reveal your surprise," she reassured. "Is it a big surprise?" she asked. "Somewhat," I said softly. Silence lingered for a while. Sophie noticed my struggle to hold back tears. I felt like my world had collapsed, unsure how to react. "That's not accurate," Sophie started. "I may have had doubts about you initially, but my view has changed," she continued. "What nerve!" Eliana interjected. "Thank you both for coming," I said, regaining composure. "I'll clean up and put Cassandra's gifts away," I assured them. "She'll be home soon. You're welcome to stay, but I'm not sure watching her arrival will help." "Why not?" Eliana asked. "As her sister, I'd love to see her reaction when confronted with her lie." "She battled cancer," I explained. "We don't know its full impact. All we can do is support her and hope for the best," I concluded softly. Sophie and Eliana left, shaking their heads. I gathered clothes and personal items, packing swiftly to minimize return trips, and left a note for Cassandra on the kitchen table. I ensured I had everything I needed to stay away for a while. The next day, I started looking for a divorce lawyer during work breaks, browsing ads but not making calls. My colleagues thought I had a cold or flu, as I kept my distance. Despite Cassandra's attempts to reach me, I stayed unresponsive, repeating this routine for 3 days. Work, motel, sleep, repeat. On the third day, Lila was sitting on the hood of my car as I left the office, her eyes full of tears. "Why didn't you call me?" she demanded, her voice edged with frustration. I stayed silent, meeting her gaze, and the emotional barrier I'd built crumbled, tears streaming down my face. "Everything you warned me about was true," I admitted softly. Lila jumped off the car and hugged me. Despite my turmoil, I couldn't ignore the inappropriate surge of desire as her chest pressed against mine. "I never wanted to cause you pain. Please forgive me," she pleaded. Meanwhile, Cassandra was surveying the mess in her apartment, her head pounding. "What day is it?" she groaned. "Liam needs to clean this mess when he gets back. Why isn't he home yet? Who's knocking?" Rising, she limped to the door, peeking through the peephole. "Phew, it's just Mom," she muttered, quickly throwing on a robe and opening the door. "Sorry for the mess, Mom," she apologized. "Liam seems to disappear into thin air at work," she added. "Cassandra, where were you?" "What were you doing?" Sophie asked, her tone accusatory. "From your appearance, who were you with?" she continued. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Cassandra snapped. "Cassandra, why do you have hickeys on your neck?" Sophie pressed. "Oh no, Liam better not see this," Cassandra muttered. "Mom, could you make me some coffee? My head is killing me," she requested. Sophie reluctantly went to the kitchen to make coffee. "So how did you cover up your lie that night?" Sophie asked. "What lie, Mom?" Cassandra replied. "The lies you told your husband on your birthday," Sophie clarified. "When you said you were with me and your sister, we were actually with him," Sophie reminded her. Cassandra's eyes widened. "I need to think of something to say before he comes back," she realized. "You have to help me, Mom." "Why should I?" Sophie challenged. "Mom, I need your help, please," Cassandra pleaded. "I know I've messed up," Cassandra admitted. "But it was just for fun. I wanted to experience things I missed out on when I was younger." She sighed deeply. "Back then, I was overweight, always the chubby friend, never the one anyone desired. But then I met Liam, and everything changed. I grew more confident, started dressing better because he saw me as beautiful. He made me feel attractive because he loved me. But now that I've lost the weight, I'm getting attention from more men, and it feels thrilling." She confessed, "Now I can flirt and drop them whenever I want. Having options is exhilarating. It's not serious. I'd never leave Liam because I love him. I'm just having some fun," she assured. "But you always said, Mom, that he's average and dull. Besides, Liam will never find out. He's always at work. He should join the game or risk losing me. He should be home by now," she concluded. "That's probably true," Sophie murmured softly. She handed Cassandra a note found in the kitchen. "Dear Cassandra, I'm glad to see you enjoying yourself after everything you've been through. You deserve it. Beating cancer is no small feat, but you faced it head-on and came out victorious. You've become stronger and more radiant. From the beginning, I saw how special you were and fell deeply in love with you. Now you have the confidence to show the world how amazing you are and how big your heart is. You deserve that too. I realize now that there's no place for me in your life or your heart anymore. You won my heart long ago, and you deserve to keep moving forward. I hope you read this note tonight so we can discuss our future, if there is one. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume the worst and proceed with filing for divorce to give you the freedom you deserve. You can keep the apartment. I can't come back. There are too many memories. I hope your next partner appreciates you more than I did. I gave it my all, but it wasn't enough. You deserve better. I'll always love you. Liam." After reading the letter, Cassandra collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Sophie looked at her daughter, thinking, "What a foolish girl I've raised." Meanwhile, across town, Lila escorted Liam to her home. She circled the car, opened the door, and gently helped him out, guiding him inside and settling him on the sofa. She started talking to him, recognizing that he had been on autopilot for days, just going through the motions. Now, he had hit rock bottom. Despite his outward appearance, Lila believed he had much more strength than he realized. I'm going to help him break free from this deceitful woman, she resolved. Lila knew it wasn't the right time to reveal more details about Cassandra. She had hired a detective agency to monitor Liam and Cassandra for the past week and knew when he had left her, but she decided to wait before confronting him. Cassandra had done far worse than Liam knew, and Lila wasn't sure if he could handle the truth in his current state. Leaving Liam on the couch, she changed into more comfortable clothes and prepared dinner, steak and salad. While she ate, Liam pushed his food around his plate, deep in thought. They didn't speak a word during dinner. Afterward, Lila turned off Liam's cell phone, noting there were no messages, which indicated that Cassandra was still too drunk to notice his absence. This was a good sign. Lila called the hospital, informing them she would be absent for personal reasons, and encouraged Liam to do the same. Despite his reluctance due to financial obligations, Lila insisted, and he eventually agreed to take 2 days off. Lila gave him a blanket and settled him on the couch, hugging him like a child and kissing his forehead. "If you need me, I'm here," she assured him, pointing to her bedroom upstairs. Meanwhile, Cassandra was frantically trying to reach Liam, calling his cell phone repeatedly, frustrated by his lack of response. She needed to explain herself, emphasizing that she didn't want a divorce and couldn't live without him. Liam had always been her pillar of strength, her unwavering support. Despite her recent actions, she maintained that her marriage was the most important thing in her life. Liam's love had been steadfast, even during her struggles when she was overweight and overlooked by others. Recalling their fight against cancer, she realized their victory was a joint effort. She thought about all the memories with Liam, including the day he shaved his head in solidarity with her. Feeling foolish, she tried calling him again, this time reaching out to his workplace. To her surprise, she learned that Liam had taken a few days off and had been assigned a new office since his recent promotion. Cassandra felt a deep pang of guilt, realizing that Liam's return might not be as she had envisioned. Until then, she had assumed he was simply upset and sulking, thinking she could resolve his anger with a simple call, asking him to come home. She believed a brief conversation and some intimacy would mend everything. She envisioned spending the rest of their lives together, making amends to him. Reflecting on the past few hours, she realized her recent behavior wasn't worth risking her relationship with Liam. She had started off level-headed. How had she turned into the kind of foolish girl she had always looked down on in college? Initially seeking a bit of enjoyment and self-care, she now saw that she had lost control. The allure of unfamiliar men offered only an illusion of control, at the expense of what she should have reserved for Liam. There was no love involved, just empty, drunken encounters, Cassandra reflected bitterly. Now she had to confront the extent of Liam's knowledge and wonder what kind of forgiveness he might need. Deep down, she doubted she could ever forgive herself. She had become everything she once despised. Meanwhile, Lila meticulously helped Liam regain his footing. They collected his belongings from the hotel and bought necessities. At Lila's insistence, they moved his items into her guest room. She encouraged him to talk, initially drawing out only a few words, but soon engaging him in deeper conversation. They avoided discussing Cassandra altogether. As their 2-day break ended and they had to return to work, Lila handed Liam his cell phone. Silently, she watched as he scrolled through his messages. Despite over 100 missed calls from Cassandra, he deleted them all without listening, his jaw set in a newfound resolve. Lila believed he would eventually be all right. Back at work, Liam felt slightly better, though still on edge. Some coworkers had noticed Lila picking him up recently, sparking a wave of gossip. "Who's the redhead in the Mustang?" his friend Dave asked. "Liam's got a supermodel driving him around," another colleague joked. Liam grinned, but remained silent. Lila's beauty was undeniable. Did he genuinely think that? His cheerful facade slipped when someone insinuated he was having an affair with the mysterious redhead, oblivious to Cassandra's betrayal. Everything seemed fine until the end of the workday. A security guard rushed into Liam's office, urgently summoning him to the parking lot. Liam feared for his car, but was unprepared for the scene that awaited him. He heard angry shouts before he even reached the lot. "What the hell are you doing on my husband's car, you homewrecker?" Cassandra's voice rang out. "You abandoned him with your partying," Lila retorted sharply. "What are you even talking about?" Cassandra shot back. "You vanished into bars and betrayed him," Lila spat. Guards stepped in to separate the women, but a crowd had already formed. Liam approached Lila, guiding her to the Mustang. He quietly told her to go home and assured her he would follow shortly. He then instructed the guards to detain Cassandra for at least 10 minutes before driving off after Lila. As he left, he heard Cassandra's anguished cries. Despite his growing feelings for Lila, anger and pain surged within him. "Liam, we need to talk," Cassandra's voice echoed. "We'll figure it out. You still care for me, I can see it," she insisted. She wasn't entirely wrong, but with tears streaming down his face, Liam walked away. Later, at Lila's house, Liam was ready to confront the situation. "What's your plan, Liam?" Lila asked. "I need clarity about my marriage," Liam replied. "Are you sure you want to know?" Lila questioned. "Absolutely," Liam affirmed. "I'm not so sure," Lila admitted, retrieving a large envelope from her office and placing it on the table. "Everything you need is in here, but I urge you not to open it," she cautioned. "What's inside?" Liam asked. "When I first told you about her, you said I lacked proof," Lila began. "You were right. Despite what I saw, I struggled to believe it, just like when it happened to me," Lila confessed. "I anticipated you would need evidence, so I hired a private investigator. My cousin owed me a favor, so it didn't cost anything. There are photos, audio recordings, receipts, and reports. But trust me, if there's any love left for her in your heart, you're better off not seeing this," Lila advised. "You know she's betrayed you, but seeing it will only cause more pain. Once you see it firsthand, it'll haunt you," she added. "You're starting to see reason. This file will only drag you back, but do what you must," she concluded. "What should we have for dinner?" Lila asked, heading to the kitchen. Liam reached for the envelope and pulled out the first photo. It showed Cassandra lying on a table in a bar, her dress pushed up, surrounded by men. The sight was devastating. He struggled to breathe, returning the photo to the envelope and tossing it across the room. He collapsed onto Lila's couch, shutting his eyes as she embraced him. They sat in silence for the rest of the night. The next morning, claiming illness, they visited a divorce attorney Lila recommended. "I'll make this as painless as possible," assured Naomi, Liam's new attorney. "You have no children and few assets aside from medical bills." "I'll cover those," Liam offered. "Why?" Naomi asked. "Given your debt because of her," she explained, "and her behavior, well, you know," she added. "This should be straightforward. If she contests, we'll threaten to expose the evidence," Naomi suggested. "The paperwork will be ready in a few days." Over the next days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Cassandra received the divorce papers and immediately tore them apart. Not only did she refuse to sign or read them, but she also declined to seek legal counsel. She told Naomi she would contest the divorce vehemently and vowed it would never happen. Instead, she proposed a legal separation. In return, she requested marriage counseling and begged Liam to come home to save their relationship. Threatening to expose her infidelity could ruin her reputation if evidence came out, Naomi warned. Cassandra scoffed at the threat, demanding Naomi come up with something substantial. "I've made it clear," she snapped. "I'll stop at nothing to prevent this. If you need to fly to Rome and tell the Pope I'm unfaithful, I'll buy your ticket. But no one, especially you or that redhead, will take my husband without a fight," she declared. Cassandra also refused to entertain any alternative proposals until she could speak with Liam directly. "She's being unreasonable," Naomi remarked to Liam later. "If I were you, I'd attend the meeting. Refusing to communicate could look bad in court." 2 days later, Liam found himself sitting across from Cassandra in Naomi's office. "Why are you doing this to us?" Cassandra asked, her voice shaking. "You brought this upon us, Cassandra," Liam replied calmly. "I may have gone too far, drank too much, and neglected you," she admitted. "I understand why you're upset, but that doesn't justify throwing away the 10 years we've had together. I love you, Liam. Please believe me," she pleaded. "You lied to me, betrayed my trust, and broke my heart," Liam countered. "You did things I never thought you were capable of. You didn't care about my feelings at all, Cassandra. It was all about you and your fun." "But Liam, I fought cancer. You can't understand what that's like," she said sadly. "After beating it, I just wanted to live a little, to experience life. Going through something like that changes your priorities," she explained. "Cassandra, I get it, but you're wrong," Liam responded. "Now you'll have all the time in the world to explore life. I won't be in your way anymore. You can do whatever you want. You can be with whoever you want." "I'm done," Liam declared as he stood up and walked away. "Liam, you can't just leave me. What do you mean I'm wrong?" Cassandra cried out. Liam stopped and turned back. Cassandra, you didn't fight cancer alone, he said quietly. We fought it together. What? She began, but Liam cut her off. I was there every single day in the hospital, he said, his voice breaking. You had medicine for the pain, but I had to watch the person I loved most suffer, powerless to help. I had to be strong for you, to keep your spirits up, but inside I was falling apart. Every night after they made me leave, I went home and cried. I was terrified of losing you. And then every morning, I put on a brave face and did it all over again. Liam continued. When it was over, I wanted to live too, to enjoy life. But the person I wanted to enjoy it with was busy drinking and cheating. One of us had to work to pay for all those medical bills, and that was me. You have a new body and a new outlook, but I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and a broken heart. You found new priorities, and I found out my wife is a cheater. You say you love me, but how do you think I'll feel when I hear about all the men you've been with? Where were they when you were in the hospital? Cancer may not have killed you, but it killed our marriage. Maybe it wasn't the cancer, he said quietly. Maybe it was just you. He looked at her one last time. Sign the papers, Cassandra. I have nothing more to say to you. Liam walked out, leaving Cassandra sitting in the chair, tears streaming down her face. Outside, Lila saw the distress on Liam's face and knew he didn't need to talk about it. She handed him the keys to her Mustang SVT Cobra, a car Liam had always admired. Let's go home, she said softly. Your divorce will happen, whether she signs the papers or not. Can we take a drive first? Liam asked. No, Lila replied gently. We have plenty of time for that. Right now, you need to rest and eat something. When they arrived at Lila's house, Liam took a lingering look at the car before following her inside. Lila dropped her coat onto the living room floor and walked slowly up the stairs, glancing back at Liam with a teasing smile. As she climbed, she unbuttoned her blouse, letting it fall to the floor, and kicked off her shoes, leaving a trail of clothing behind her. By the time she reached the top of the stairs, she had discarded her tights, dangling them playfully before disappearing into her bedroom. Lila dropped her skirt, leaving it behind, and Liam marveled at the expanse of her fair skin. He realized that despite the emotional turmoil of the past weeks, he was still very much alive. Hastily ascending the stairs, he collected her discarded clothes along the way. Reaching the landing, he found Lila waiting, engaged in an enigmatic feminine ritual. Lila unfastened her bra, revealing her chest, which seemed to pulse with anticipation. Liam struggled to breathe as he gazed at her, his thoughts becoming increasingly scattered. Come get me, she whispered, darting down the corridor. Liam suddenly understood the wisdom of George Clinton's lyrics in Atomic Dog. Why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat? It all made sense now. Liam pursued Lila to her bedroom, where she knelt before him, methodically disrobing him. Each piece of clothing she removed received her deliberate attention as they accumulated on the floor. With each discarded garment, the anticipation for their connection grew. Lila, Liam began, but she silenced him with a finger to his lips. While Cassandra had been soft and submissive, Lila was fierce and passionate. She engaged with him fervently, making it clear that she was wholly devoted to him. She was his, anytime, anywhere, forever. They explored every conceivable pleasure, and Lila succeeded in shifting Liam's focus from the past with Cassandra to a future with her. Lila's experience with her ex-husband's infidelity had taught her that some men would betray even the most beautiful women. She remembered his cruel words. No matter how beautiful a woman is, she becomes old news after a while, and you need something new. Lila had longed for someone who would truly cherish her, and she saw that in Liam. With Cassandra out of the picture, Lila seized the opportunity, vowing to treat Liam with the love and respect he deserved. Weeks passed, and Cassandra remained defiant, refusing to sign the divorce papers. She plotted to catch Liam with Lila, hoping to sabotage the divorce and win him back. She believed this retaliation would restore balance and reunite them. However, she hoped it wouldn't take long, yearning for Liam's presence and feeling increasingly unwell. Without anyone showing concern for her, she imagined Liam's return would lift her spirits, make love to her, and restore her sense of importance. Though it might take time, she believed they could overcome this setback. One day, Cassandra saw Liam and Lila at a restaurant. Observing them through the window, she saw Lila tenderly caress Liam's cheek, and he reciprocated by holding her hand and kissing it. Liam hadn't followed the path she had expected, engaging in a physical relationship with Lila like she had with other men. It became clear to Cassandra that Liam was deeply in love with Lila. Realizing what she had lost, Cassandra unraveled. Bursting into the restaurant, she screamed at Lila to stay away from her husband, hurling insults. "You're the one who let him slip away," Lila retorted. "No, I didn't mean to," Cassandra insisted. "I was just seeking amusement. I never intended for him to leave me. You won't win over my husband." "He would already be mine if you would just sign those papers," Lila responded calmly. "Not in a million years," Cassandra screamed again. "I'll stop you first." As onlookers watched, Cassandra's complexion paled, and she grew faint, struggling to stay upright. Eventually, she sank to the floor, declaring she felt unwell. Regaining her composure, she exited the restaurant. 3 months later, Liam and Lila tied the knot. True to her word, Cassandra never signed the divorce papers. Her cancer returned aggressively, and she was readmitted to the hospital. Despite receiving excellent care, the absence of someone by her side made the battle unbearable. She lost her will to live, spending her hospital days asking about Liam or writing letters to him, pleading for forgiveness, or simply asking for a visit. Liam offered to see her if she would agree to sign the papers, but this time the cancer was swift and merciless. Cassandra deteriorated rapidly over a month before passing away. Liam and Lila attended her funeral. Liam delivered a heartfelt eulogy, expressing his deep affection for Cassandra and reminiscing about their cherished moments together. He chose to focus on the positive aspects of their relationship, not their separation. In a touching gesture, he revealed to the small group of relatives in attendance that he and Lila had decided to name their expected child after Cassandra. On some evenings, whether by the fireplace or driving his Boss 302 Mustang, Liam reflected on the past. Both he and Cassandra had been mistaken. Cassandra had claimed victory over cancer, leading Liam to believe they had conquered it together. However, the truth was that Cassandra had only recently been diagnosed with cancer after leaving the hospital. She had transformed drastically, becoming loud, angry, and destructive, wreaking havoc on everything and everyone around her, including her marriage, her relationship with Liam, and her family. When she couldn't get what she wanted, she turned her destructive tendencies inward. As for Liam and Lila, they lived happily ever after.